Alright, welcome back. To this time we're going to be reviewing Underworld, their third album, which is Dub No Bass with My Headman. It's Carl Hyde and Rick Smith, and this was the first album that they put out that wasn't like a synth pop 80s band. The two prior albums they put out were in the 80s, and they were kind of like a funk fusion rock albums. And this one, the third album, Dub No Bass with My Headman, it came out in January of 94 and 1994, and it was the first album that they collaborated with DJ Darren Emerson, and he became part of the group. At first, you know, I knew about this album way back in like 94 when it came out, and I had no desire to listen to it because it was kind of fused with rock, and at that time I was really into just techno music. And for instance, at that time I was listening to Moby, self-entitled Moby's EP Move. That song is just amazing. And then I also was listening to like Dr. Alban, and so I was really a big fan of Moby back in 94, and so I didn't really give them much attention to Underworld, and I just had this music pass through, like I didn't even care about listening to them. But lo and behold, I actually it's kind of funny how with dance music sometimes you hear the song before you know who it is, right? Well, that's usually the case with most all music, right? You like a song and then you go check out who plays it and what album it comes off of. Well, in this case, I had before Underworld, before they officially put out this album, which was their entrance into the electronic dance scene, they actually put out some songs under a different alias, and that is Lemon Interrupt. And I bought a compilation, which is actually this one here, but it was a tape when I bought it in 94. Best of Rave, and on this compilation there's Lemon Interrupt, Big Mouth, and of course Big Mouth is not on this album, but there's another compilation that I have, which is I bought it. It's by the label ZYX, German techno label, and it was a progressive house 2 CD album or compilation, right? And one of the songs, like at the end of the first CD, it was called Lemon Interrupt, which is Underworld, and the track was called Dirty. And this version on the Progressive House album, which was put out by ZYX Music, was with no lyrics. It was just the music, and basically the same tune that you hear the Dirty Epic on this album, Underworld, except for not the lyrics that I think Carl Hyde sings, right? So those were the two songs that I knew about before I really even knew that it was Underworld, because they were going under the alias of Lemon Interrupt. And so when I sat down and listened to this album, I was pleasantly surprised and kind of blown away that the version that I knew of Dirty was a earlier version, which when the one that they put on their album was actually the finished version, of course, and with lyrics. And I do like the lyrics. I mean, it's not a big fan of the, some of the lyrics on the song, but the actual song itself, the musical instruments, that are playing in the background, plus the guitar that comes in later on, and then anyway, it's really good. Basically, it's a 9-minute song, and a lot of people say that it's the best song off the album. Although I have to say that there are some other songs that are good as well. The album starts with Dark and Long Kiss. What Dark and Long? It's a dark and long kiss. Anyway, it's a good song, and then the second song, Skyscraper, I Love You, is kind of an interesting song. The transition from the Dark and Long into Skyscraper, I Love You, it's a really good transition. If you listen to the album, it just slides into the next song. Surf Boy is pretty good too. Spoon Man makes me think of Pink Floyd, where the wall where Roger Waters is singing, and it's a piano song where I've got a spoon on my necklace, and 13 channels of to choose from. Anyway, so that kind of reminded me of that, and Spoon Man. And Tongue it's alright. I mean, it's okay. Of course, Dirty Epic is the next one, and that's really good. Cowgirl is a really good one. River of Bass is kind of after all this energetic music, it's kind of more of an ambient kind of music where basically they're saying the river is a bass line of sound. And then M.E., the last song off the album, is pretty good too. My favorite songs off the album are obviously Dirty Epic, then Skyscraper, I Love You, then I like Surf Boy and Cowgirl, and then the other ones are okay, but those are the major ones that I really like. I mean, a lot of people praised the album and for it including everything and anything. They kind of, when they created this album, they didn't hold back in you know, there's guitars in this album. There's you know, electronic beats, and the lyrics are hilariously eclectic, and at some points, you know, they just don't make sense, but the lyrics actually complement the actual song. They might not make sense at all, but some songs do make sense. But for the most part, they they did not hold back on, you know, any. They had the kind of feeling of you know, anything goes, and anything did go in this album. This album is quite unique. It's an eclectic techno album, and someone said, like, techno music as you know, just by itself, with no lyrics, with just the music, is nice, but techno music with lyrics is amazing. And that's what Carl Hyde brings to this album. His lyrics and his musicship. I mean, before they put out this album, they already had two albums that came out in the 80s, and they were more kind of a rock band, rock, funk, synth pop band. And but this is the first album that when they put it out, they went all in on electronic music. And I think Darren, DJ Darren's DJ Darren Emerson has a lot to do with you know, giving them the idea of what an electronic album should sound like, because I mean, he's been DJing, and he's a really good techno DJ and writer of music as well. So, for instance, the Dirty song was written, co-produced by Carl Hyde and Rick Smith and Darren Emerson. Although in some places it doesn't really give Darren Emerson the credit, but I think, you know, Darren Emerson is quite the influence upon Carl Hyde and Rick Smith, and in making this album full on electronic. And I mean, after all these years, kind of like blind spotting this album, like I could care less. I don't want to hear this album. After hearing it, I was pleasantly surprised, and I actually do like it a lot. And I can bet you that you will enjoy it too if you like techno music. It's very eclectic, and you'll like it a lot. So give it a try. Out of the type of rating I would give this album is probably, out of 10, I would give it probably a 8.9. I mean, it's a very good album, very good, and very popular too. And yet, when it came out, I had no desire to listen to it. So listen to someone. If they want you to hear it, go ahead and listen to it, because you might be surprised, and you might be knocking yourself on the head saying, why didn't I listen to this earlier? I kind of, you know, with Global Underground, those DJ mixes, I I think Dave Seaman, when he went, he made a mix when he went to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and he included, this was like back in 1999, this was past this album, but on that album he put out, he put Jumbo as one of the songs, and that song is amazing, which made me think about it a little, but still didn't make me want to listen to this album. Anyways, go ahead and listen to it. You'll be pleasantly surprised, and hope you like these reviews. I'll be reviewing their next album soon, and I'll see you in the next review. And please like it. Let me know what you think about this album, what songs you like, what songs you don't like, or if you don't like this group at all. Let me know. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that during this time when this album came out in '94, Two Unlimited, which is a Dutch group with Phil Wild being the main producer, and J.P. Koster, and but mainly Phil Wild. Two Unlimited was massively popular as a Eurodance group, and they do say here that most people were like, you know, when No Limit came out for Two Unlimited, most people are just like into that kind of music, but this type of album where it mixed guitars and rock and roll with electronic beats was a first in the electronic scene, and actually people liked it. I mean, you know, as far as in the charts, you know, it didn't go very high, but overall in the underground scene, where, you know, people, I've come across so many people that just love this album, and I can see why they like it. I enjoyed listening to it myself. So anyways, that's it. I'll see you next time in the next review, and I'll see you then. Bye.